All right. I know it's a little weird to see me right now, but I just wanted to let you know we did record a part two of this at the very end of this episode that talks about the Myles Garrett trade, how he was feeling about the Myles Garrett trade, and all of those different things. So if you make it to the very end of this episode, you will get to hear us talk all things Myles Garrett, what that means for the Browns, and how he is feeling as a Browns fan. Now, having said that, I hope you enjoy the entire episode. Anyways, welcome everybody back to my 32 fan series. So this is my AFC North buddy. I won't say rival, I'll say buddy. So we're going to talk all things Cleveland Browns. And the cool thing about this, though, honestly, is I kind of like what the Browns are doing. I'm one of those people that I'm starting to say it, and everyone's like, "You're tripping. It's still the Browns," but I kind of like what they're doing. I kind of like some moves. So I can't wait to talk to you and see what you think. But before I do all of that, I would like for you to just introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, anything you want to share with us, and then we'll get to talking about these Browns. Let us know how long you've been a fan, because there's some fan bases where it's like takes me a little bit of time to find a fan. Obviously, we've done this before, but how long have you been a Browns fan,
Oh,
and why?
I've been a Browns fan all my life. I mean, I was born into this. I'm from Cleveland. First of all, my name is Marshawn Powers. No, I'm just I wouldn't call like I said last year, I wouldn't call myself a fan. Like, I think my fandom died 7 years ago when I watched my team lose to a third string quarterback in Denver. I think that's when my fandom died in 2019. And I started to see the Browns for what they are, and then I started to see certain moves for what they really are. I started to
Okay.
understand it a little bit differently than from a fan's aspect, because being a fan, you leave heartbroken all the time, especially being a Browns fan. So when you start to see the reality of things, life starts to move a little differently. But no, man, like I say, I've been a Browns fan all my life, man. I'm from here, born and raised here. I am currently now, I have my own media company, as you can see at the bottom, Empowers Media. Basically, what Empowers Media is, my mantra is to, unleash the unseen. So
I like that.
what I like to do is, like, for example, I work with a school right now, and I'm giving them brand development. I'm rebranding who they are as a school. Some people kind of in Cleveland, they call this school like the Duke of Cleveland, because they're a
Mm,
basketball school, not really good at football. But I am, with my creativity and my visionary skills, I am trying to kind of uplift their football team and,
okay.
give a, granted, they are struggling, but give a different view of them to, hopefully try to get kids to want to come transfer there. Hopefully, change that program around just through the visionary. But now, I'm not a player. I can't play.
Yeah.
I don't put on pads or anything. But just through the storytelling and the graphics, and that makes it at least work for basketball.
Okay.
At the end, I'll share all the links to how to find me and see my work and stuff. But I
Yeah.
saw the progress of it in basketball just by my starting lineup graphics, the game day graphics. The girls basketball team when I
Okay.
played at Warrensville Heights, they went on like an 11-game winning streak, and the coach would say, "Hey man, we love your graphics, we love the videos, we love stuff like that." So that's kind of just like what I do on the side. But in my spare time, I root for this uprising team. I can't call us bad no more. We not bad.
Yeah. Are you also a Buckeye fan, an Ohio State fan, or are you just a
Yes,
Browns
I
fan?
am. I
Okay.
am. I am a Buckeye fan, but
Okay.
I'm also a Maryland fan as well because I went to the University of Maryland. So it's
Okay.
kind of like my college football fandom is all over, it's scattered around.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. So how are
I
you
know who you
feeling
like. I'm
then?
rooting for your
Yeah.
team this year,
Well,
by the way.
I always tell people I wear my fandom on my sleeve. Like you will always know who I cheer for. I do not care.
I'm
So
definitely rooting for Arch for obvious reasons.
yeah. I love it. So okay, tell me about these Browns then.
Okay.
So last year happened. I felt like it was kind of like a typical last year, right? At first. And then Shedeur comes in. He looks pretty amazing, I think, first two games. And then it kind of whatever. But how was the season for you? Like, where do you feel like the team is at currently? How are you feeling about them? Like, what are your thoughts? If you
Um,
like
to,
this video, now is a perfect time to take a second and hit that like button and leave us a comment in the comment section below.
to be honest, I I was not a fan of the firing of Kevin Stefanski. I'm gonna be perfectly
Mm,
honest because I felt
okay.
like Kevin Stefanski was a good coach. I felt like any coach in the situation that he was in offensively, it was going to be slim. Kevin Stefanski was not a perfect man by any chance of the imagination, right? I felt like maybe Kevin Stefanski's voice probably just ran out. Maybe the younger guys and the vets, it just wasn't moving them anymore. Maybe they needed a new voice, and I don't think that new voice. I don't think that the team. I don't think that the team thought that new voice should have been a younger guy. Because our two finalists was Nate Shieldhouse, if that's his name, and it was Tom Munkin, and the offensive coordinator from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I just think that those guys. I think that those two younger guys' voice would have kind of been similar to a Kevin Stefanski's. It would have been young. It probably would have had some fire behind it, but I don't think that it would have made the Myles Garretts, the Denzel Wards. I don't think it would have made those guys move as much as like a Todd Monken made, because he's a savvy vet. He's 59 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And, he's going to demand the respect of guys, younger guys, younger players.
Yeah. I kind of like that take. And based on where he came from, I think okay. Like, I always wonder, like, obviously I had Coach Tomlin for 97 years, it feels like. So for me, it didn't matter who they got. I was going to be like, because it's not Coach T. But it's always interesting to see how other people evaluate what it looks like with their coach. Okay. So new coach, draft happens. What is one word you would use to describe the draft?
Foundational in the terms of, and I'll quickly go through every pick.
Yeah, let's do it.
A lot of Browns fans wanted Carnell Tate. As an Ohio State fan, I thought that it would have been a reach for us to take Carnell Tate at number 6 or number 6. Granted, Carnell Tate went before 4. The trade. It wasn't our problem. Yeah. Thank God. But I just felt like that taking a guy who, and I'm not taking any talent away from Carnell Tate, but I just think that taking a guy who never had the opportunity to be a wide receiver 1 at Ohio State, and I'm not saying he can't be, because he could go down to Tennessee and build a connection with Cam Ward, but just to be able to allocate a top 10 pick to a guy who you have serious question marks. If I bring you in, I'm paying. You're going to be my highest paid receiver on my team. I need you to show up and be. And this is a name that Browns fans don't like to hear, but I'm going to need you to be a Josh Gordon. I'm going to need you to be a Amari Cooper. I'm going to need you to be an Odell Beckham the 1 year where Odell Beckham was the wide receiver, a Jarvis Landry. Can you be that? And if there was just too many question marks, so I'm glad we didn't go that route. I've always been on the side of the Browns have 5 holes at offensive line. We were the first team since, I believe, 1973 to have to rebuild your entire offensive line in one offseason. So I knew that the first pick, no matter, I didn't care if it was a guard, center, whatever, had to be the best offensive lineman, and we went out and got the best offensive lineman, Spencer Fano. If Spencer Fano is not everybody's saying Spencer Fano may not be a left tackle because Will Campbell, I don't know if you remember Will Campbell last year from the Patriots. What did they say about him?
LSU.
Arms was too short. Arms are too short, and that's what they're saying about Spencer Fano. That's fine, but he could play all 5 offensive line positions and be great at all 5 offensive line positions. So we got an offensive lineman, but we'll figure out where you are, where you're best at.
Figure it out.
Yeah. We got a weapon, a wide receiver weapon, who, I'm going to be honest, I thought he should have went to y'all. I thought Casey Concepcion, if he would have went to y'all, Lord have mercy. Because you got 2 big body, you got two monster trucks on this outside, and all you needed was somebody to fill that Calvin Austin role. So I felt like that was the perfect place for him. We got him. I appreciate we got him, but Casey Concepcion is a weapon. You can line them up anywhere, everywhere, every receiver position at running back. I remember them at NC State for betting purposes when I used to bet on his touchdowns and receiving yards because nobody knew who he was,
Yeah.
But so we got, I like that pick. I like that we doubled up at 39 and got a big body receiver, because one of my problems last year with the Browns was we didn't have a receiver that can high point balls, And the Detroit Lions game, Joe Flacco threw at least about 4 to 5 pretty balls that should have been touchdowns. It should have been high pointed, and players either dropped them or just couldn't couldn't get high enough to get the ball. So we got a dog from University of Washington who, is a former track star in high school. So he got a little wheels on him, and just a pure athlete. So I think
another Denzel, right?
Another Denzel Boston. Moving on, we got a safety, a hard hitting free safety from University of Toledo. I used to be one of the biggest MAC haters, but I mean, these guys coming out the MAC nowadays are just absolute animals. Like he can hit, he can cover, he's a really, really, really good safety. And I'm gonna throw this little nugget at you. The last two DBs that were drafted out of the University of Toledo, that team that drafted them went to the Super Bowl the same year. Last year, the Seattle Seahawks drafted a guy. I don't know his first name off point. I just know his last name. His last name Hood. And then the year before that, the Eagles drafted Johnson, the cornerback that they got now from Toledo. So those last.
So the Browns are going to the Super Bowl.
I don't know that.
You heard it here first.
I don't know that. I just found that little nugget that somebody told me pretty interesting. One of my guys.
You would collectively lose your crap.
I'll go crazy. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. Who
is this team? Like, what is going on?
Oh, yeah. I was just telling one of my friends when the Browns go to the Super Bowl this year, I don't know what I might do, man. But yeah, one of my friends, Mike, he's a reporter, sideline reporter for the Toledo Rockets, and he texted me that little nugget. He was like, "Browns to the Super Bowl," because he's a Browns fan as well. And I was like, "Bro, stop playing with me." He was like, "Bro, the last two players that have been drafted out of Toledo have went to the Super Bowl that same year." So, Mike, if you ever see this, I'm stealing your take, Mike.
I love it. Can you imagine, like, one year, eventually the Browns or the Cowboys have to make it to the Super Bowl, right? Because at this point, they are like the two teams that everybody every year. It's like, what are we doing, guys? Yeah. So before you go into the other players, I want to know. So I don't know if you know this yet. Actually, I recorded this video. I don't think it's released yet. But I actually think the Browns had one of the better drafts. Like, I was on board. I was like, I like everything they were doing. I think they got like 8 offensive players, 2 defensive players. I was invested. I was like, this is a great draft. Yeah, so I would like to know, was there anybody day 2, day 3 that you really, really liked, that you're like,
What's funny, I don't really have to go that much further into the draft. I feel like the rest of the guys that we got were developmental pieces, guys who, maybe special teamers. But the guys that I specifically talked about, those guys I feel like are going to be impact day 1 players for the Browns right away. A day 2 player that a day 2, I'll just go day 2. The 2 guys that I just talked about, I think I'll go 2. I think Denzel Boston and Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is his name, the safety from Toledo. I think those guys are going to make a big impact right away. The reason why I say that is because if you look at history, Andrew Berry, his second round picks are like 90% hit rate. Last year we had the defensive rookie of the year, Carson Schlesinger, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Grant Delpit. So he's always been able to draft well in the second round. That's it. That's always been like Steph Curry if Steph Curry was to put his feet directly on the 3-point line, he's hitting every time. That's how Andrew Berry is in the second round.
As solid as a wide open Steph Curry.
You already know.
You can't beat it. So the other thing that's interesting on second round, guys, it's funny how everybody kind of has their thing where it's like, listen, this team usually hits on 4th and 5th round. Like, just stay tuned. It's like everybody has a weird, I don't know why that happens, but I guess maybe it's the value we place on certain players. I don't know. Well, who's the one player that you think is going to make like the biggest immediate impact? Like, they are going to come in and they are just going to immediately make an impact, and you're going to be able to tell, like, that guy is going to be playing. I don't care. Like, he's going to be on that football field.
I'm gonna go with McNeil-Warren because I think 2 years ago, well, everybody says last year the Browns defense was amazing and all like that. I always felt that the Browns defense was amazing 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago when we made the playoffs, and we didn't make the playoffs. I'm sorry, we were terrible that year. But we had Rodney McLeod, and at the beginning of the season, we played 3 safeties on the field, and our defense looked amazing. Well, if you watched the Atlanta Falcons last year, the Atlanta Falcons also played 3 safeties on the field, and that's what made Their secondary looks so amazing. They snatched everything out of the air. So I think McNeil Warren is going to be able to come on. He's a hard-hitting safety, so you can play him a little bit down in the box, and he could cover. So he's going to fill that third safety need for us to be on the field a lot more. The other guys are going to be on the field, but I think instant impact, like right away, I think he's going to be that guy.
Okay. Is there a player that you all passed up on multiple times, like in the draft, that you were just like waiting for y'all to grab him and you just didn't? Or maybe you just wish that you would have got him, maybe only had one chance and you missed the chance and then he was gone?
I got two. Can I give you two?
You can get, this is your show. I'm just facilitating.
Okay, so a few guys. The guy that I was jumping off the porch, because I'm not gonna lie, I changed who I wanted the Browns to pick so many times. But the guy that I felt like Caleb Downs. I think Caleb Downs is gonna be like legit for the
Ooh, and you guys could have gotten him.
And we could have got Caleb Downs and then Nick Singleton, the running back from Penn State.
Nice.
He went to the Titans. And
that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Because he's a bigger. Don't get me wrong. Like Quinshon Judkins is a bigger back, but he's only about 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah.
I want another Nick Chubb. Like Nick Chubb was closer to 6'1", bigger guy. You know, like it's hard to bring a 6'1", anything over 6 foot as a running back. It's hard to bring those type of guys now. But we went out and got some UDFAs for like 5'9", 5'10". Like, okay, that's cool, but you know, I want a bigger. Like, I want a big boy.
Yeah.
So
no,
Nick Singleton was one that I think Nick Singleton is one where I'm gonna be like, I wish we got him.
Yeah. Okay. What would success look like for the Browns this year? Like, if when the season's over and you want to say, okay, you know what though, we at least what would that be for you?
I think success. I look at success two different ways. I look at it one way. I mean, I said this last year. Obviously, he didn't play, you know, and I was 100% wrong about that. I'm willing to say I was 100% wrong about that Deshaun Watson take last year. But, you know, I mean, he's out there this year. You know, he's practicing. You know, I just watched a video before I got on here when I was driving home where I would call him the voice of the Browns. Nathan Zegura said something that stood out to me. And he said, like, you could tell Deshaun Watson, like, his body just looks bigger than the other two guys out there. I mean, and Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, the balls that he's throwing is different. You know, his arm strength is different. And when he said he's standing out against those other two, granted, this is OTAs. This is just shorts and skin, you know. Right now, I look at one side of the coin. Deshaun Watson starts. Let's say he does look plausible. Let's say he does look okay, and the Browns win 9 games, and we either are close to a wild card or we do make a wild card. What do you do then? Do you franchise tag him and keep him for another year?
100%.
Do you say thank you for your services and let him go and be the old Browns? That's what the old Browns would do.
Yeah,
do you say
you're right.
Thank you for your services and let him go help somebody win a Super Bowl? Or the other side of the coin is Deshaun Watson does not look good through 6 to 8 games, and you turn the realm over to Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders looks good. The train keeps moving. Shedeur Sanders doesn't look good. Deshaun's gone. Shedeur's gone. I'll be watching Austin, Texas football from the end of November on. I will be on the phone with Steve Sarkisian, Cooper Manning, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Arch's high school coach. We're gonna get this FBI check for Arch ready to hand to Jimmy Haslam because we are full all in for Arch Manning if all of that happens. Now what I just said is like the absolute extreme, right?
Yeah.
I don't think
you don't want to be there.
Exactly. I don't think right now it's currently constructed. You know, you went out after, you know, the accusations were under Kevin Stefanski that you couldn't identify wide receiver talent. Andrew Berry, I got to give him his big ups. You went out and drafted Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston. You signed Anthony Anderson, a UDFA receiver from LSU, who I don't know if you remember this name, Trendon Holiday, that was at LSU, but he reminds me a lot about Trendon Holiday. Trendon Holiday, you put the ball in his hand, he was like he could just speed, he just had speed, just could get downhill. So I mean, you went out there and you identified wide receiver play. So I don't think that we're gonna fail. I the only thing I worry about is you have a lot of you got a first time head coach with a first time offensive coordinator. The only person on your experience, not as a first time, is your O-line coach, first time wide receiver coach. You flip it over to the defensive side, you got a first time defensive coordinator. Some of the guys have been around for a long time, but it's just too many first time. You got a first time special teams coach. So it's like, if they do not win 9 games, or let's say we end up at 7 games, it's not going to be a situation where I'm banging my head on the table and I'm just so upset.
Right.
Because we won 7 games. It's a step in progress. You got a brand new line with a lot of first time things around. So it just depends on how it looks. Is what I'll say.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Bad, if it looks terrible, if it looks terrible and unorganized, then it'll be a 1-year deal, and the Browns will go and get who they really want at head coach and kind of start this all over with the younger nucleus that they have. But right now, I don't get that feel right now. I don't get it.
And the Browns are constructed in a way where a lot of people see Myles Garrett and they think the team is old. They're really not. They've honestly been built for the past, 2, I feel like solid building from 2 years, and then you add on this draft. I mean, there's some solid talent there, and it is young. And you're right, the coaching might impact that. But like I know everybody will say, but it's the Browns. I got it. But they're in the division. I'm paying attention. Like, they have been doing like little bitty things here that eventually you think that's going to be a big thing.
It should take you over.
Yeah, it just hasn't quite gotten there yet. But I always say, I feel like they're doing the right things. That matters to me. So sometimes when I'm looking at the teams, I'm like, I don't even think they're doing the right thing. So I don't know what this is going to look like. So, okay.
I'll tell you this, like, one team that I just didn't feel like did the right thing this year was the Rams. Like, I just don't understand what the Rams are doing. Like, getting the luxury of having 2 first-round picks don't come around often. And I just felt like you taking a quarterback at 13 was just
I think what the Rams did today in April 2026 looks crazy. It might look brilliant in May of 2028. So that's one of those picks where I'm like I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it. I'm not a fan. Yeah. It's a no for me. I'm out. I saw the rest of their draft. I thought the rest of their draft was pretty decent. So in 2 years, we might be going, you know what?
Another team real quick, and then we could get back. The 49ers did not have a good draft either.
Respectfully, a lot of times, I don't think they do. I mean, I'll just
one thing that stood out to me that I was reading an article about them is like, outside of CMC, they can't really identify running backs. Like, they fail. Like, John Lynch should not be allowed to ever draft a running back on my team. Never.
I mean, even that offensive line, I'm starting to wonder. But so yeah, there's some things that I feel like the 49ers do where I'm like, all right, well, not my team. So.
Not my problem.
I love that for y'all. Yeah, whatever. Which position group do you worry the most about on your team?
Running back.
Yeah.
Running back.
Junkin, is he? Where's he at with his process?
So I think it was smart what we did in terms of not putting him out there for OTAs to run around and catch balls and just kind of let him, because I didn't know that I know he had the broken bone. But I didn't also know that he fractured his ankle as well. So I didn't know that. So, you had an ankle injury and you had a bone injury. So it's like, I know that Ty Monken is going to not necessarily run him into the ground, but I'm looking at Quinshon Judkins to get around 250 to about 275 to about 290 carries this year. So I don't think that we need you out there right now in voluntary OTAs. But outside of him, Dylan Sampson, the jury is still out on him, right? I don't really know what we have on him. Rocket Sanders, people say it's promise, so I'm going to believe it's promise. But outside of that, you got a second-round running back, you got a fourth-round running back, and then you have a bunch of UDFAs. Like, I don't feel extremely confident in that. I wasn't a proponent of this, what I'm about to say at first, but under the right circumstances, because it would be a good feel-good story in the city of Cleveland. There's a guy who was on a 1-year deal in Houston and is a free agent right now.
Mm.
His name is Nicholas Jamal Chubb.
You guys love Chubb.
I mean, I don't like if Chubb came here, man. If Chubb gave me 500 yards, I would be ecstatic.
I know
ecstatic.
There's certain players at every organization you guys love Chubb. I mean, it's not a knock on Chubb at all.
I would do this. Like, I would, with the running back crew, I would see where I'm at around August of training camp. I wouldn't necessarily try to add anybody right now. I wouldn't jump and make a move. I would see where they are and with Todd Monken's scheme around August. If August, I don't feel like I am satisfied where I am with my running back room, I start looking at guys like maybe a Nick Chubb, maybe call a Kareem Hunt back and see, hey, what would it take to get you back home one last time? I would start looking at these savvy vets who can come in and just kind of, be a certified RB2 or split carries with other guys, just give us something. That's I think if my run better, I would be probably comfortable enough to pop stuff and say the Browns is ready to contend for the AFC North. But I don't know.
You're not ready to jump. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay. Where has this team improved the most from last season?
Where wide receiver, offensive 100%. Line, wide receiver and offensive line, 100%. Those I would say those are the first two.
That's fair. And then, what will this team do better than probably any other team or most teams in the NFL? There's only one answer. Question. Don't blow it.
Score points.
You think?
Yeah, I think we're gonna be up there in scoring points this year.
Interesting. Okay.
I think we're gonna score a lot of points this year. Or no, I take that back. We might blow. We might a lot of
all your money is on the defense. How are you not talking about this defense?
I would say we're gonna lead the league in sacks this year.
I was about to say,
we're gonna lead the league. Yeah, I just thought about it.
Mason Graham, year 2, Myles Garrett. I don't know.
I had to think about that for a minute. We're gonna.
I keep saying I like the way it looks. I like the way.
I think we'll lead the league in takeaways as well. We'll be top 3 in takeaways. Lead the league in sacks and top 3 in takeaways. Because when you add that Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, I think a 6'4" safety. Them don't come often. Them don't come often.
Okay. I like it. All right, let's do the fun round. So the fun round is just you can give one, however you want to answer it, you can answer it. So the first question is, this is going to be interesting. So the first question is quarterback confidence on a scale from 1 to 5.
Quarterback confidence on a scale of 1 to 5. 4.
Okay. No matter who's back there or who's getting the 4 right now.
Deshaun, don't matter. 4.
Okay, cool. Got it. And then coaching staff trust level between 1 and 5, 5 being the most.
2.
Okay.
Just because there are a lot of the first timers. Like that's the only thing that worries me. So 2.
Okay. Who do you think will carry the team this year? Offense or defense?
Offense.
Okay. If you could trade drafts with any other team, take all of your draft picks and then you get all of their draft picks, who would you trade with?
The Jets.
Great answer.
David Bailey.
Yeah,
they got all of it. Kenyon Sadiq. Yeah, the Jets, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I'll just leave that where it is. If your team had a this happens all the time moment, or this always happens, or here we go again, what would that be for Browns fans? Like, what is the thing where you're always like, here we go. Of course we lost that one. Like, of course this is happening.
Man, that's crazy.
Because I stalk Browns Twitter after a loss. There's so many.
Now you got me thinking of our losses. Like what? Here we go.
One of them is usually the field goal kicker. Usually people
blowing
get mad
the field goal. Yeah. blowing a field goal kick, blowing a field
Blowing
goal
an
kick,
extra point or like
blowing a,
something where you're like, they're gonna win it, and then they don't.
or we got the ball last and we throw an interception. Or turnover on down, something like that.
Turnover on down. That's a good one. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's certain things where I feel like every week when there's a loss and I go back through, they're like, and of course our kicker could make an extra point, and that
of
made everything
course.
worse. Starting
Missed the
from quarter
29-yard
one.
field goal.
Okay, I love it. And then my last question is, if you could send a message to your team's owner or your team's GM, what would you say?
Oh man. Well, I'll say something to both. To Andrew Berry, I would just tell Andrew to keep the main thing the main thing. Keep being him. Keep believing in who he is as a GM, what his principles are, and don't change his principles and what he's doing to build the Browns in this 10-year plan. Like, don't change for anything. Always keep the main thing when it comes to what you're doing for the Browns, because I'm starting to see the vision and it's starting to look like success. For Jimmy, I would tell Jimmy to allow, like, it's something. One thing that I definitely would love to tell Jimmy is that we should start honoring the bad before, so you'll see the good of the future. What I mean by that is honor some of, like, I was talking with one of my friends earlier today, and we was talking about how, like, the Browns don't really honor, the players of the 2000s who may not have been Hall of Fame players, but they are a part of this history to where we are right now. So, like, Courtney Browns, the Dennis Northcutts, the Kevin Johnsons, like, if you honor them, I guarantee you'll start to see good things happen in the future. You'll start to see guys want to come around more. But when you're just honoring the same guys, the Joe Thomas, the Joe Haydens, and there's nothing wrong with them, because those are coming to the first guy. Those were the core guys when Jimmy Haslam bought this team. But I think Jimmy should really go into the history of the Browns and see what that early 2000s top players, and kind of bring them around, and like obviously Josh Cribbs, but try to amend the relationship and honor those guys. And I guarantee, we'll start to see great things. You guys do it. Like Rashard Mendenhall may never be a Hall of Famer, but he was a part of a Super Bowl team. You guys don't just,
we bring him in.
You guys don't just honor all of the greats, like just the Big Bens, the Heinz Wards. You guys bring in guys who were instrumental parts to also help you win a Super Bowl. Granted, we've never won a Super Bowl, but I would love to see you amend the relationship with Braylon Edwards. That was a top 3 pick for us. Till date, he still holds records in Browns books. He's the one of the all-pro receivers we've always had. So, like, just things of that. That's one of the things that I would love to tell Jimmy. It's like, just try to amend those relationships with the guys of the early 2000s and honor the past so we can celebrate the future.
I love that. Who do you think the starter is week 1?
Deshaun Watson.
Okay. Awesome. Anything else that I didn't start? We'll end on you. Anything that you want to share? All of your information is going to be in the description. So anybody that wants to find you anywhere, anything you send me, obviously I'll put it in there. Okay. And then the other thing is anything you want to say, I'll end on whatever you want to say.
I mean, well, first, you can always find me on Instagram at Empowers Media or Sershawn90. I'm always posting. If I ain't posting, I'm always looking on there. So if not on there, you can find me on Twitter at Sershawn_90. I have been chilling lately on Twitter. I usually, be popping my stuff.
I think I saw a come up yesterday or 2 days ago where you were on what is it called there when everybody gets together and you can chat?
Oh, Spaces. Yeah. So I'm a part of this Browns community. It's called Off the Clock. Basically what we do is we challenge the norm. We're not standing for, we believe that the Browns should have a fair and positive representation out there. We're tired of being a laughingstock of the NFL. We're tired of being looked at as the Clippers of the NFL. So we're bringing a new narrative. And we actually had Carnell Tate in the space. I wasn't in there that day, but we had Carnell Tate in the space. And the day that you saw, we had Cyrus Allen, who got drafted to the Chiefs in there. Really good, really good young man. I wish the best for that guy. I think Cyrus Allen is going to be smart mind. He's talking about how, hey, I'm trying to getting that playbook so I can, dominate. And I want to make people remember my
Good
name.
answer.
Got that New Orleans swag. Got that very, very New Orleans. Ah, man, he's New Orleans to the T, man. But
I love that
I
accent.
yeah. So I
Okay.
I wish the best
Awesome.
for that kid. But you, like I say, the last thing I will say, man, is absolutely to you. Keep doing what you do. I for the past year actually subscribe to your channel, and I watch all of your takes about
Do you?
Texas and the Steelers and stuff, and you have grown a lot since the last time I've seen you. Keep doing you, because what you are doing is going to take you higher than high. Like you are doing an amazing job cover with your Texas takes, with your all 32, with your Steelers, because it's fair and honest. You don't give an opinion. You don't give an opinion. You just take straight facts and you report and you speak on the facts and you keep it straight. So that's just what I have. My last thing to say is you are doing amazing.
That's so kind. Thank you so much. I always say someday somebody's going to catch me off guard and make me cry. That actually gave me chills. Like, 'cause I know I put content out there, but it's always interesting when people are like, "No, I watch it." I'm like, "Oh,
for sure,
okay."
For sure.
So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I
definitely catch you out there with on the trail. It look like you be on a trail or whatever. But
you never know.
You never know where you're gonna be.
That tripod. Yeah, I'll pull it up at any moment. I'm like, this is a good area. Anyways, well, I appreciate you so much, and thanks for talking to me. And if the Browns make the playoffs, we'll be back. We'll do this again. You get to be a part of my playoff series. And everybody that doesn't have a team that usually gets the playoffs, I need you talking trash. That's like the best part is when somebody new comes in. Yeah.
Man, I am. Listen, we make the playoffs. Ask D. I've calmed down. D will tell you I have calmed down. If we make the playoffs, the old Marshawn might come back out.
I love it. And you should. Anyways, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. No problem. I appreciate you.
Welcome everyone back to our, I guess this is like the people get a little bit of extra for us because we had our episode. Everyone should have just watched the entire episode. And then obviously the bomb drops. Myles Garrett gets traded. So we are back to talk about Myles Garrett getting traded. And you and I haven't had conversations about this. So we are just going to pick it up as if the news just literally released 2 seconds ago. Myles Garrett gets traded. Myles Garrett is going from the Browns to the Rams. You guys are getting versed. So I would love to know, how are you feeling? What you're thinking? What is it? Tell me how you're feeling and what you're thinking. And then I'll ask you kind of the second part of like, what are other people in Cleveland land kind of feeling? Cleveland land, that's kind of cool.
Cleveland land. That's a good name. We got to change the name to Cleveland land.
So yeah, I would love to know like what you're thinking. How are you thinking? What do you think?
All right, so I'm gonna make the first part fan me and then an optimistic me or a business me. Fan me and business me. Fan me, obviously, when you see a player who you know in your heart is going to retire, Cleveland Brown leave, it makes you feel some type of way, right? Nick Chubb leaves, makes you feel some type of way. We just had, we're expecting Joe Bitonio to retire. It's going to make you feel some type of way. Joe Thomas retired as a Brown, all-time great. It's going to make you feel some type of way. Lou Groza makes you feel some type of way. So when you have all of these guys who retired that's never won anything, when Myles leaves, the part of me that's expecting Myles to go somewhere in a LeBron move and win, kind of, it makes me feel grumpy. But on the other end, the business me, I'm glad we made this move happen. Myles Garrett had 9 speeding tickets here as a Cleveland Brown. I've heard, you've heard, everybody's heard, my mama's heard. She don't even watch football. Myles Garrett is the best player on the Cleveland Browns. The best player on the Cleveland Browns will never get 9 tickets. TJ Watt for you. How many speeding tickets TJ Watt got for you in Pittsburgh?
That's fair.
How many speeding tickets Ben Roethlisberger got for you?
Well,
let's go Jerome Bettis. How many speeding tickets Jerome Bettis got for you, right? Yeah, Ben might have been a bad one.
Leave that one where it's at.
Yeah, exactly. But exactly. You're a leader of your teams, and it's simple as that. Getting a speeding ticket. Myles Garrett, and I have this video saved in my phone, man, to this day, where Myles Garrett was begging Jason Garrett and Jerry to draft him. Don't let me go to Cleveland. I don't draft me. And I'm a Clevelander till I rot this earth. I feel like anybody that comes to Cleveland that want to play for Cleveland is always going to be great. If Cleveland is going to be winner, you're going to have somebody that has to understand what it means to be here. You have to authentically love it. Myles Garrett said it in his press conference in LA that it took him 7 years to actually love Cleveland. That's too long. 7 years. 7 years. So it needed to be happening. On the other end, we got Jared Verse. I think it was a good trade. I mean, Jared Verse, in my opinion, the LA was played out of position. I follow Jared Verse, when he was at Albany, when he was at Florida State, when he went to the Rams and they put him in a 3-4. I was very curious how, and it's crazy because how I feel about Jared Verse is kind of how I feel about Myles. When you go from a 4-3 where you're naturally an edge pass rusher to a 3-4 to where you're kind of outside linebacker-ish, I don't know football, but I just know that particular, you kind of outside linebacker-ish, it's going to be different. The thing about Myles and Jared Verse, the thing about Myles, in that 3-4 defense, you're going to be able to move Myles wherever you want to put him, just like they did in Cleveland. But with Jared Verse is actually going to be able to play in a system where he said during minicamp that it feels like I'm coming back home. So I'm happy for it. I think the world, you get a 2-time Pro Bowl guy with a 1st-round pick, a 2nd-round pick, and a 3rd-round pick. And let's be honest, how many teams are trading a 1st-round pick in the 2027 draft knowing that there could be, and I'm over exaggerating with it, but there could be up to 10 quarterbacks coming out in this draft. 10 quarterbacks, receivers, this and that. Not too many teams are trading that. And now it makes sense of why the Rams drafted Ty Simpson from Alabama early to where they can afford to be able to give up their 1st-round pick, because now we don't have to go and get a quarterback that we don't have to go and reach for a quarterback necessarily. So I understand the Rams' effect of it. For the Browns, we got Jared Verse. I am on pins and needles for this season. Right now, mini camp, Shedeur has had good days. Deshaun has had good days. I am still, like I told you, I'm still believing that Deshaun is going to be the starter week 1. If everything goes to the negative, I think my quarterback next year will be from Austin, Texas. We have 2 1st-round picks to ensure that quarterback will be from Austin, Texas. And we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Okay. Are you in the majority of how people are thinking and feeling, or do you think that you're in the minority of how people are thinking?
I'm always in the minority. The majority right now is we traded Myles Garrett. We overreacted a little bit. We traded an all-time great player. Now, people are starting to believe about Jared Verse, but they're saying they're still on the belief that 2, I'm not going to say his name, but 2 can lead us to the playoffs. No, even though we got rid of Myles Garrett, we still got 2.
Okay. This is interesting. Okay. I think I understand the trade from both teams. I understand it from both perspectives. And I am not a Cleveland Browns fan. Obviously, the Cleveland Browns are in my division. And so I'm not going to sit up here and act like that's my team. I'm riding for them, because no, the hell I'm not. And as a football fan, though, I like understand what Cleveland is trying to do. I understand the goal. And when I look at this, like, nobody asked me, but when I look at this, what I see is we have a $50 million quarterback. We're going to try to make him work. If he can work within what we have going on, we're good to go. If he does not work, we already have a number 2, and we're going to give him a go to see what he has going on. And guess what? If he also doesn't work, we still have a backup plan, right? It's like kind of checking everything off the list. And it's like, we're not ready to win with Myles Garrett right now. And so because of that, you ship him, you see what you can get, and you build with Verse because you still can build with Verse. And by the time Verse is due a contract, that Deshaun Watson contract is gone. So I understand it. And when it happened, I probably was like most people, I was like, oh, wow, whoa. And then I was like, okay, business brain. Where's my business brain at? And I mean this with love, Cleveland Browns fans, if you watch this, listen, no one's expecting the Cleveland Browns this year to win 10 games. Like, no one is. Let's just call it what it is. Like, no one's expecting it, okay? If they do, they do.
If anything, the Myles Garrett trade takes the win total down 2 games, in my opinion. Right. So we'll go from 8 or 9 to 6 or 7, okay. It's fine.
And so for me, I understand your position, and I'm glad that I understand your position 100%. It is a little scary though, because it's like you trade away this like guaranteed person who impacts the defense so dramatically. I mean, literally, we play you guys 2 times a year, and every time we play, I'm like, if Myles Garrett wasn't there, we could probably move the freaking football.
Can I ask you this question though? If you had to redo the 2017 draft all over again, if you were me, okay, is going 1-15 worth drafting Myles Garrett?
No.
Is 1-15 worth drafting Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
Is 1-15 worth drafting? Hear me out. This name's you'll probably jump out your seat. At the time, is 1-15 worth drafting Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
Who would you draft? This is my last question. Who would you draft at that time? Hindsight 2020 right now. You're in my position. Hindsight 2020. If you are the Cleveland Browns, would you draft Myles Garrett or would you draft Trent Jordan?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, let's I mean, the Browns technically, well, I guess in 2020? Yeah. You all went to the playoffs?
Yeah.
2023.
Twice.
Let me say this. From what Myles Garrett did was he gave Cleveland hope.
He did. He went through 19 different quarterbacks. I will never, ever say, oh, Myles Garrett was the cause. I mean, when you go through 19 different quarterbacks as a starter team, starter defense, at some point you're going to break. I agree.
Yeah. And I don't know if anybody else would have, or anybody that you mentioned would have been the presence. Because the other thing I think that we forget about is Myles Garrett is a large human being. I have been on record as saying if I could ever play football, I want to be in Myles Garrett's body, and then I want to play football. Now I'm kind of changing that, and I'm like, no, actually, now it might be Will Anderson, okay? Because they just look like superheroes, and then you place them on the football field. That also gives fans confidence because you can look at your guy, and you're like, ooh, he's big. Like, and a lot of times people are like, well, ooh, he's going to. And I think what Myles Garrett brought to the Cleveland Browns was the stoutness and the physicality. You can't quantify that. I don't know if they would have gotten it from anybody else. Now, if you say, Patrick Mahomes, know what I know now, I mean, that's a different conversation. And can I just say the Deshaun Watson one, though, was interesting because young Deshaun Watson, out of college Deshaun Watson, Clemson Deshaun Watson, get that. Remember at one point, Deshaun Watson, like a lot of people don't know this because you just know this Deshaun Watson. At one point, Deshaun Watson was like it. That's why he got the $50 million. That's why they paid him $200+ million. He was phenomenal. He was great for the Texans.
100%.
It just hasn't worked out. So that's why all of this is so interesting. And you know what they say? Like, that's why you play the game, right? You figure it out and see who still has the heart, who's going to get 9 speeding tickets, who's going to like the city, who's going to sacrifice. Okay. So all
right, let me tell you this. So immediately, well, not immediately, but I woke up probably like 5:15 one morning and I had that Myles Garrett trade on my brain. I wasn't angry. I didn't feel refreshed, but something in me said, I love research. I actually went to school for research, so I know how to research things. So I said, you know what? I want to compare the Myles Garrett trade to any NFL, MLB, NBA trades that could possibly be of that magnitude between now and 2010, so past 16 years, right? These are the three trades that I came up with since 2007. I'm sorry. So I went back 20 years. So these are the three trades that I came up that's we can argue that's close to that magnitude. What's my man that was traded from the Raiders to the Bears? Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack was an all-pro at two different positions.
At the time. Mm-hmm.
You remember? I know you like animals.
What did they trade for him?
A couple first-round picks, and I forget the exact, but it was a first-round pick. It was 2 first-round picks and something else. But like Khalil Mack you remember that shark, the Megadon? I think that's what it was called, the Megadon, like the greatest shark that ever. That's what they made Khalil Mack out to be. He was a D tackle at All-Pro. He was the edge at All-Pro, right? So Khalil Mack made it to the Bears. The Bears won 12-4.
Just for reference, so
okay,
the Bears traded to the traded from. Okay, so the pick was 2009, first round pick 2019,
right?
First round pick in 2020, 2020 third round pick, and the 2019 pick the sixth pick. So they got 4 picks, 2 first. That's what they sent to Oakland. And the draft sent back to Chicago was a second round pick and a conditional 5th round pick. Just FYI, so everybody knows. And at the time, Khalil Mack
he was an animal at that time, right?
He was. So he signed a 6-year, $141 million contract back in those days. Just so we know, and that was a lot of money.
Correct. Yeah, that was one of that was a huge trade at that time going because he was unhappy where he was. He got sent to Chicago. If I'm not mistaken, the Chicago Bears that his first year won 12-4. They made it to the playoffs. They lost first round. After that, it was 8-8, 8-8, 8-8.
Until they traded him. Yep.
Do you think that trade was worth it? Giving up all of that to go 12-4, 8-8, 8-8? Okay. Another one that I can think of was on basketball, Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett got traded from the Timberwolves. Kevin Garnett was a cornerstone piece for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Got traded to the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics won a championship. They still was relevant. Minnesota Timberwolves was irrelevant for 20 years, right? So here we go. Where I'm going with this is on one end of the spectrum with this Myles Garrett trade, it could be the Chicago Bears where you get 1, maybe 2 years of productivity, 1 or 2 years of winning. You may go to the Super Bowl, you win it. Cool. On the other end of the spectrum, man, we got rid of a guy who goes somewhere and wins forever, and we're just sitting here losing. So, I believe, in my opinion, that I'm going to go with my left hand, my lucky hand, that NFL teams typically don't get more than 2 years. 2 years of solid. When I say solid winning, I mean going championship or a Super Bowl. When you make a big trade like that, I'm expecting the Rams to potentially get 1 or 2 years of solid winning with Myles Garrett. After that, it's going to start to feel like the Browns won that trade. Just like how, you look at Matthew Stafford getting traded to the Rams. They won a Super Bowl. They won their side of the trade. But then when you look on the other side of it, Detroit won theirs too. That's where I want the Browns to be. I want the Browns to kind of lean a little more, but, I just wanted to kind of be a fair even. And getting Jared Verse tells me that it's going to be even because Jared Verse, I'll say this, Myles Garrett, you're going to look at me crazy when I say this. Myles Garrett, to me, is Kevin Durant and cleats. He does not necessarily have the leadership ability. He's a great player, but when you asking him to gather the troops to get them somewhere, I don't necessarily think he can do that. Now, when you bring in Jared Verse, who doesn't mind being here, who authentically is okay with being here, that may be the SGA. That may be the guy who gathered everybody in, we may get one lucky run and that's all we need. And I'm okay with that.
So I have a question, and this will be the last question. Do you think that the environment will help Myles Garrett, or do you think he is just doesn't have it in him? Example, Let's stay with your example. If I send Kevin Durant to the Warriors, if I send Myles Garrett to the Rams, does the environment help him step his game up? And then the opposite for Verse.
Okay.
Because Verse is used to, right, like winning culture, being in the play, all the things, right? The glitz, the glamour. LA is not Cleveland, respectfully, or no one's going to disagree with that. So do you think that and it could be great on both sides. It could work for both of them. I don't know, but I'm just curious to know, like, do you think that will impact either player's ability to do what they need to do?
I'm going to start with Jared Verse. With Jared Verse, he's coming from a winning organization. So he's going to be able to kind of bring a little bit of extra, that it factor to us, because he knows what it's like to, hey guys, I've been to an NFC championship. I've been a part of a winning culture. I've been a part of a winning organization. This is some of the things that they did over there. Now, when it comes to Myles Garrett's going to have to learn. He's going to have to learn on a veteran there, and it may not necessarily be on the defensive side. It may be from a Stafford. It may be from a Puka Nacua. It may be from an offensive line. Just kind of how to navigate as a winning professional. Because as we're seeing real life time, I'm gonna use the NBA for an example, right? So we're recording this and we're watching Game 2 of the NBA Finals. De'Aaron Fox is probably the most decorated player on the Spurs, right? But De'Aaron Fox has played on a losing organization his whole career. So when you are when you actually get to a winning franchise and you're expecting to know how to win, sometimes it'll show that you actually don't know how to win. And I expect that with Myles Garrett this season. I expect that with Myles Garrett this season to win, when they're playing the San Francisco 49ers, a team who knows how to,
I know what you're saying. When they know how to chip him, when they don't care that he's Myles Garrett. No, I know when he gets in those tough situations. Because this is the last thing I'll say, and I know you'll agree with me on this. When it comes to offensive linemen, where are the better tackles, in the AFC or the NFC? Yeah, they're definitely in the NFC.
Myles Garrett was getting 15, 20 sacks in the AFC. Do you think he's going to get 15, 20 sacks against better tackles in the NFC? I think that may come down to 12 to 14, kind of what we're seeing with Jared Verse. That's why when you bring up a Will Anderson, I may have a Will Anderson here in Cleveland. That's the last thing I'll say. It's the last thing I'll say.
I need you to look like a superhero. Okay, well, I will end this on you, but I have to ask this because I have to. Do you think Aaron Donald comes back to play with Myles Garrett?
I don't want it to happen, but I think it'll probably happen. I think it'll probably happen. I don't want it to happen.
Yeah, I in my mind, I'm like, I don't think he's going to be there for training camp because he doesn't have to, right? Like, and it's brutal.
It'll be August this season.
Yeah, most veterans don't really, they are around, but they don't really, Trent Williams always magically disappears around that time and then he shows back up. So, okay. I was just curious to know your thoughts. Awesome. Well, I will end on you. Anything else you want to say? Thank you for jumping back on with me and just adding this because I think it's cool. And I also, well, you know this, but some people might not know this about me. I like to do things that seem real and seem organic. And it's like, this is really happening. I'm not going to try to act like we didn't record this. Because our episode, I believe it recorded almost a month ago now. Maybe
absolutely.
But it's been a while. So I'm like, I want to bring us up to time when things happen. And if you're willing, let's talk about it. If you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to. I'm not going to drag somebody out of their summer vacation and be like, come talk to me about, your team. So anyways, I just appreciate you doing that. And I think it makes this better because it makes it a complete episode of what happened. And as a Steelers fan, I am very happy that Myles Garrett is gone. It's not, this has nothing to do with Verse. It has everything to do with the fact that Myles Garrett always had a chip on his shoulder when he played against the Steelers because of TJ Watt. And
crazy part about it, I understand you. I wholeheartedly feel you, but it's crazy to say that I have somebody better than TJ Watt right now.
You think Verse is better than Watt?
100%. I think he is right now. I think Watt's going on the decline.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. And since this is
We'll
your
talk
episode,
soon.
I'm going to combat it. Bye.